We welcome you into another edition of the Coach Shinnick Show. I'm Will Kennedy, along with UWF head football coach Pete Shinnick. And the good news is that our run is not ending. We'll get to do this a little while longer, right? 48-37, a big regular season finale win over West Alabama. And what a special night. We'll talk about the game, break down the film and everything. It was salute to service. It was senior evening as well. I mean, really hard not to get emotional about it because this is a special football team.
It really is. We got a lot of guys that have just been with us for a long time, and so we have 10 original members of that first recruiting class. And so, didn't know how it would be. You get into the grind of the season and the week and everything, and you're watching film and watching these guys go out and going, all right, it was in that guy's living room, talking to them. This was 5 years ago. Man, how quickly this has gone. But really, what great accomplishments this group has done, and really some NCAA firsts, for a 4-year-old program. First team to make it fastest in 2 years, but then the first program ever to get into the playoffs 2 times in 4 years. So couldn't be prouder of what they've been able to accomplish, and really this entire team this season played hard till the end. This game was a tough one, for our defense. But, I told the team after the game, look, defense has had the offense back a lot of times all season long. Offense had them today, and defense came up with some huge stops to make this thing go, and now we're sitting here 8-2.
Sometimes in a game like this, holding them to field goals is what it takes. Let's dive into the first half highlights, and it started off with, salute to service, and they dropped a ball in on a parachutes and all this kind of stuff. It's like it's madness at the beginning. But we've talked about fast starts and getting off to a hot start, and you guys did that right from the first drive.
Right, and needed to, and we felt like there were certain things that we could attack against them and certain things that we could, take away from them. And really, Austin Reed played as well, obviously, as he's played with the, completion percentage and the 400 yards and the 5 touchdowns. But really just putting us in a really good situation. Gave him a handful of checks to, some run-pass checks. I think he was dialed in on all of that. Saw what he needed to see. And then we just had some guys play exceptional game.
And some toughness out there, too. We'll talk about that as we go on. They answer. You guys go right back on, and we got one of those weird plays where it looks like Austin's about to run in for a touchdown, and the next thing you know, Sam Antoine's picking a football up off the ground. We got a touchdown.
Not how we drew it up, not what you want, but to have Samuel have the awareness to go find that. Austin, he came back, that's my fault. I'm like, well, just thank Samuel because Santone got it done for him. And, in the end, it turns out to be a great deal because, Samuel Antoine gets a touchdown, so that's great. But we want to be able to hold on to the ball in those situations.
All those Easter egg hunts for Sam paid off back when he was a kid. They get a field goal to cut into your lead a little bit, and then they take the lead. They got a couple of running backs they're really talented, especially the big kid Battle, just kind of bruising down near the goal lines. So you guys find yourself behind, but then answer right away. And we saw this time and time again tonight. Quentin Randolph just coming up with all kinds of catches when you really needed them because Tate was a little banged up. KG gets banged up, and he needed Q to be special.
Yeah, Quentin had to be special, and he was. Tate has just fought through some banging, and he's a physical guy, and so for him to play the type of game that he played, I thought was fantastic. Quentin just stepped up and really stepped up his game and answered the call that needed to be answered. I felt like all our guys were playing at a very high level, wide receiver-wise. I think you saw the speed of Quentin. You saw the speed of Karan Ashley. You saw the speed of Kevin Grant. We were able to really hit those guys in stride a lot of times and come up with some big plays.
They would get another touchdown to retake the lead, and then you guys get one before the half, which is important because they're going to get the ball to come out to start the second half. But it ends up being Kenneth Chanel and another guy stepping back up, filling a role when you got some guys down.
Yeah, and Kenneth really, he was about the third read on that, and he put himself in great position. We were trying to do something to the field on that. Austin read it very well. Kenneth typically is playing one of our slots, but because of some of the injuries and things, Kenneth played on the outside a little bit and really came up huge for us.
Big plays all the way around, and we weren't even near done. You guys are up by 3 at the half, and there's still a long way to go. We'll dive into the second half highlights right here when the Coach Shinnick Show continues.
Real change occurs in that split second, a moment of connection among people.
With a common purpose,
a shared vision,
and a unified goal. What will you change?
What will change you? The University of West Florida. No limits.
For those who measure success by the worn tread on their tires, and those who strengthen their body and mind and drift through their weekends over nature's current. Andrews Institute, for those who move.
What does Argos spirit look like? Is it finding the perfect Argo outfit to show your team pride? Is it giving back while getting your pre-game grub? Or is it connecting with your community in the perfect spot? At Penn Air Federal Credit Union, it's being a proud sponsor of UWF Education, the Alumni Association, athletics, Penn Air Field, and having a spirit of communerosity. Learn more at pennair.org/aboutus.
Welcome back into the Coach Shinnick Show. Let's dive into the second half of this one. You guys are up 27-24 at half. You know they're getting the football, and I joke about this sometimes in games like this. It feels like an arena football kind of game, and I know Brian Henry had asked you going into the half, is it going to be who has the ball last? Fortunately, that wasn't the case, but they go down. But your defense, once again, rises up when you need them to, bend but don't break, and holds them to a field goal.
Yeah, I thought that was, and the word of the week for our guys was crucial. I thought that drive was crucial because if we could just not give up a touchdown, we felt like we'd be able to get some momentum here. We really haven't been, coming out of halftime up 3 in that type of deal. We've had some 10-7 games, that type of thing. And our defense, I just went in and said, guys, look, we're ahead. Let's just keep playing. All right, you're gonna figure this thing out, and you guys are gonna find a way to make it work. Coach Doolin and his staff made some good adjustments, but really, it was just kind of a shock, as to where that was going. But that drive, again, that was crucial. And, in the end, it's going to come down to those 3 field goals. It's going to be the difference in the game.
And that defense was battling. They were missing some guys, too, in Sherrod Oliver, and you're just trying to fight through some injuries and some guys moving around to different positions. You guys answer, and that's the big thing. Not only do you hold them to a field goal, you get the football back, and then all that momentum from the first half continues. Yep. Kind of a weird drive for number 2. Rodney Coates had a couple that he probably should have caught, and then he catches one he needs to.
Sure. Yeah, and you give Austin a lot of credit to be able to go back to Rodney in that situation. And again, that was another, wasn't necessarily the primary read, but to find Rodney in the back of the end zone there after we felt like Rodney had a couple. That drive, I think, really established kind of what our offense felt like. Okay, hey, if we get the ball, we're going to be in good shape. Let's just keep rolling. 34-27 at that point. And then we get this weird thing where they drive down, your defense comes up with a turnover, and then you turn the ball back over, and it just, and then it looked like you had them stopped again, and the big battle sticks one in at the goal line, and it was just kind of, weird, I'm sure, as a coach, like, momentum, where's it going here? Well, it was a frustrating time, and I'm frustrated. Jaden Garner knows, what he did, he shouldn't do, and that's a frustrating deal in that situation. And we felt like we had, we ended up scoring a touchdown on the next drive on a deep ball. We felt like we had that the next play, from the 11. That was a frustrating one, and really put our defense, I think, in a compromising position because they had just played great. You get that turnover. Now they feel like everything's going the way they want it. And then, that was really the one hiccup, I think, from our offensive game that, we obviously got to clean up.
The bomb to Q, you just mentioned, it was postponed and not canceled because you get a chance to run it right there, a 50-yarder. Yep. And some of the throws from Austin were just on the money, but not just that. He had there a couple times all day literally to throw the football.
He did. Our O-line was phenomenal. And, we got 3 seniors that are starting on that offensive line. We play about 6-7 guys there, but they were phenomenal. And really, the end of the game was won because of our offensive line. We were able to run the ball the way we wanted to. Austin didn't have anybody in his face. To throw the ball that many times, not get sacked, have that many passing yards, and then again for us to be able to run the ball late in the fourth quarter. Just a great tribute to our offensive line and just how well they're playing.
After that field goal for them, you mentioned it, you run it down there, and it's really Anthony Johnson, your junior, capping it off on a night when you're missing, Shamari out with an injury, you're missing Javon Newton, and you got Gardner and you got Johnson to kind of give you just enough, 101 yards I think total, but that last touchdown run really seals the deal.
No, the last drive, I went up after Anthony scored the touchdown, just hugged him. I mean, that drive was great because he had some nice protection in there too. He was getting out on routes, but we get the ball at the 20 and it's all him. He bounces it and then he takes it in. To step up like that, we were down 2 running backs, we were down 2 corners. We think we're going to get healthier moving forward, and so it really gave us, I think, some confidence in some of the things that other guys can do. Couldn't be prouder of Anthony Johnson. Again, hometown guy. We needed him to be big, and he came up with the touchdown that sealed the game.
A lot of big ones tonight. 48-37 the final, 8-2. 7-1 in conference play, 5-0 at home. And how about we talk about the playoffs a little bit later in the show? When we get into that, we'll find out who you're playing and where we're traveling to and all that kind of good stuff.
Sounds great.
But synergy, you talked about offensive line. We've talked about seniors coming up next. We'll spend a little time with Devin Gibson, the center, the senior center, right here on the Coach Shinnick Show.
Real change occurs in that split second.
A moment of connection among people.
Change is inclusive.
Change is collaborative.
Change is transformative.
Change connects. Who will you connect with?
What will you change?
What will change you? The University of West Florida. No limits.
Argo fans, we need your help helping our friends and neighbors in need. During the month of December, our men's and women's basketball teams will be collecting winter coats, hats, gloves, new and gently used winter clothing items to help families in the Pensacola area. Bins will be located inside the UWF Fieldhouse lobby. You can drop off donations throughout the week and at all home games through December 20th. All donated items will be loaded into a truck and delivered to Waterfront Rescue Mission December 23rd, courtesy of our friends at Coastal Moving and Storage.
For those who measure success by the worn tread on their tires, and those who strengthen their body and mind and drift through their weekends over nature's current. Institute for those who move.
Welcome back into the Coach Shinnick Show. Each week we like to spend a little time with one of our football players, our student athletes, get to know them a little bit better. We've been waiting to get you here. Devin Gibson, senior center on this offensive line. This is it, man. This is the last ride, and what a season you guys have had.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a special one for sure. I think we've got an extremely talented team. We've got a really seasoned offensive line, a really seasoned group of core veterans. And, it's just special to be a senior and watch this program get built up like this and be a part of something special and hopefully have a nice playoff run.
One of the cool things for me is getting to spend time around you guys and all the athletes here on campus. But this offensive line group, I've done some deep dives with you guys at practice and kind of hung out and watched the interactions between each other. You guys like to have some fun.
Oh, yeah. It's a bunch of clowns out there for sure. Sam and Joe, Mike, Dalton, everyone, Riley, Ethan, just a bunch of guys. It's really just a bunch of guys hanging out, having fun, and we're out there playing football. It's not anything crazy. It's not, a hard-nosed grit thing. We're out there working hard, but, we're trying to make the best of it, and it's awesome, man. It's just fun.
You guys come from different backgrounds. I know in a lot of cases, different parts of the state. In some cases, you're a local guy here, from right here in Pensacola, Florida, West Florida Tech High School. I think it's really cool. You guys spend a lot of time off the field together as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. We hang out probably every other weekend. We go eat dinner. Me and Dalton eat lunch almost every single day together. We're out of the condo a few weeks ago, hanging out, just enjoying each other's company. We're actually going to an offensive line dinner tonight. all of us, just building that brotherhood. It's nice to be able to know somebody off the field, so you have their back on the field, and you kind of build that connection.
Who gets to pick the music? Does it rotate?
Oh,
like when you're hanging
practice?
out? When you guys are hanging out, do you force them to listen to something that they don't want to sometimes?
I'm like a 90s grunge kid at heart, so Pearl Jam, Nirvana, Temple of the Dog, I'm all that.
You're like, Santone, listen to this.
I'm like, yeah, Sam, man, come listen to some Pearl Jam. We'll put you on that. And, he's not really fond of it, but we all just pick on each other, man.
Good bonding. What are you studying? You're near the end of that too as well, so.
Yeah, so I'm doing construction management. I'm actually doing an internship with a company called AirTech, and I accepted a position with them once I graduate. So that'll be pretty exciting.
That's a good feeling, I imagine.
Yeah,
to know I got something lined up, right?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Definitely looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
What about, what are you looking forward to the most when school's done? Is it just not having to go to class anymore, maybe sleeping in a little bit more?
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be nice to just be able to focus on one thing, not have 5 different classes going on, and obviously getting paid for doing it. So.
That's a great preparation for life, though, to be able to multitask and juggle things. I mean, you've got practice, you've got class, you've got all those things going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing is being a student athlete is more than just about going to practice. You have to balance a bunch of different things in life. But at the end of the day, you're a student athlete. You're not a social athlete. You're not an athletic student. You're there to get your studies done, and everything else comes second nature to that.
One of my favorite social media handles. Tell them what your Twitter handle is. Twitter.
Anchor.
Yeah, there he goes. Yeah, he is the guy. This Devin, thank you for spending a little bit of time with us. Coming up next, we're going to dive into those fall and winter sports that are happening here on the University of West Florida campus right here on the Coach Shinnick Show.
Real change occurs in that split second, a moment of connection among people.
With a common purpose,
a shared vision,
and a unified goal. What will you change?
What will change you? The University of West Florida. No limits.
There's nothing quite like coming together over a fresh cooked meal. Face to face, burger to burger, solving the world's problems over fries. There's also nothing like solving the problems right in front of you, like baseball practice, swim team, and getting your family's meals just like they like it, all with a few taps on your phone. Yeah, good thing there's more than one way to solve the world's problems. Good thing there's Whataburger.
Welcome back into the Coach Shinnick Show. This is the portion of the program where we kind of break down some of the fall sports that are going on, and we're into those winter sports as well. It's the crossover season, which means everybody here gets no sleep all the time. Women's volleyball here at the University of West Florida. How about this? Third time in program history, they go undefeated in conference play, 16-0 for Coach Melissa Walter and company. They get 2 big wins in matches to wrap up the regular season last week, going out and beating Valdosta 3-0, and then Auburn Montgomery came in Friday night for senior night, another clean sweep of that match. So they'll host the GSC tournament. That's coming up November 22nd through the 24th, Friday through Sunday. The number 1 seed, they'll get a bye until Saturday, and a 2 o'clock match is the first time they'll play. How about those seniors? They were sensational in all the wins this season, but especially on senior night, it was emotional. And afterwards, we caught up with Coach Walter and the team.
I'm still a little bit in awe of what these guys accomplished through the regular season. It's something players could only ever dream to do, and we'll celebrate tonight and change our focus next week, but for now, I just couldn't be more excited for this team.
I would not want to play my senior year with any other team. They're awesome. we're like a family. I look around and it's just amazing. Every single one of them has added something special to my life. I know that these are friendships that I'll have for the rest of my life. I really wouldn't want to have my senior year any other way.
Soccer was also happening right here in Pensacola, not here on campus. This was over at Ashton Brosnahan Park, hosted by Pensacola Sports, the Gulf South Conference men's and women's tournaments. And the men made a run all the way to the championship game for Coach Bill Elliott and his team. They got a nice win to get things going, beat Spring Hill, and then they beat an Alabama Huntsville team to make the finals. And it was a great match in the final. No score until the 81st minute before Lee gets the only goal of the game, goes ahead and wins that. So Lee wraps up the automatic berth to the NCAA regionals. There were some other notes for this team. Davi Alves got the GSC Freshman of the Year. Jerry Wiltshire was the Defender of the Year. Sean Hofstadter, Ed Chappie also made the All-GSC first team. They finished runner-up in the conference tournament, but they'll be playing on into the NCAA regional round, and we caught up with Coach Elliott after the tourney wrapped.
We're excited. It's a great field. We always know that teams from the Southeast are very, very strong and on any given year can win the tournament. We're thrilled to be a part of it. We've got to back to work and start to prepare.
UWF women's team also in action in the GSC tournament. They got a first-round win over West Alabama 3-1 to advance into the semifinals, and it was a heck of a match there. A 2-2 game into the shootout rounds against Montevallo. This one went 7 shootout rounds before the Argos came up on the short end of this one, so a tough loss. This team finishes 12-5-1, 8-4 in GSC play. Now Stephanie Barreras, second straight year, all GSC first team. She is joined there by Izzy Garcia Salas on that first team, and Peyton Peffers, Annie Rolfe, and Celine Rumpf, all GSC second team nominations and selections as well. Women's basketball underway, 2-1 now for Stephanie Lawrence Yelton's team. They get a nice win over Pensacola Christian last Friday. This is the field trip game where we bring elementary school students into the gym. It is loud. They are having a good time, and the home team had a good time as well, beating their crosstown opponent 68-45. Danielle Norquist with 19 points to lead the way in that one. The women will be at Spring Hill, at Union, and at Christian Brothers coming up this week. The men will also be taking on those same opponents out on the road as well. Both teams will be back at home right here in the Fieldhouse December 4th for some home games. Coming up next here, it's time to talk football playoffs. We'll break down a matchup in the first round of the NCAA 2 bracket with Coach Pete Shinnick right here on the Coach Shinnick Show.
Real change occurs in that split second.
A moment of connection among people.
Change is inclusive.
Change is collaborative. Change is transformative.
Change connects. Who will you connect with?
What will you change?
What will change you? The University of West Florida. No limits.
What does Argo Spirit look like? Is it finding the perfect Argo outfit to show your team pride? Is it giving back while getting your pre-game grub? Or is it connecting with your community in the perfect spot? At Penn Air Federal Credit Union, it's being a proud sponsor of UWF Education, the Alumni Association, athletics, Penn Air Field, and having a spirit of communerosity. Learn more at pennair.org/about us.
Hey, who are you?
Oh, hey, Jeff, I'm a car thief.
What?
I'm here to steal your car because, well, that's my job.
What?
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 It happens. So get all state. I'd be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Mayhem is everywhere, so get an Allstate agent. In Pensacola, call Melissa Keener.
Welcome back into the Coach Shinnick Show. Coach Shinnick joining us again. This is the portion of the show where we break down the next matchup for football. Good news is there is a next matchup. You guys get the business done, as we referenced earlier in the show, on into the playoffs. Selection happens on Sunday. You find out where you're going, who you're playing, and it's familiar for you guys.
It is. Back to North Carolina, where this whole thing started for us in 2017. Our first round opponent, Wingate. As a coach, I've coached against this team numerous times when we were up in North Carolina. Very familiar with them, very solid football team, but we're just excited to be in and excited to continue to play.
I know it's kind of weird for the last couple of weeks. You're looking at the regional rankings, trying to figure out how it may all shake down. But when it gets down to it, it doesn't matter. You got to go play somebody. You got to get that win to move on to the next round. So you do know this opponent. You guys go up and beat them 31-0 2017 in the playoffs, as you referenced. This is their third straight time in, second in 3 years for you guys. These are two good football teams.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, they're obviously looking at that score from 17. And I think the thing that our team needs to understand, and our fans need to as well, is, you know, they came back the next year and they beat a very good West Georgia team in the first round. And so they have gotten better. They have improved. I think this is as good a Wingate team as I've seen. So we definitely have our hands full. We know what it's going to take. But again, excited about this opportunity, you know, to be in our fourth year, to be in the playoffs for the second time. A lot of fun for our guys. We want to build on that, and we want to continue to, you know, play as long as we can.
Bulldogs come in 10-1. Their only loss was in conference to Lenore-Rhyne, who's unbeaten, you know, ranked way up in the polls nationally and in the super region as well. The common opponent would be Carson Newman. Of course, we played them the first game of the season. That's a tough matchup for week one. They beat them, but by 2.
Yep.
Will you watch a little bit of that film to kind of figure out, hey, how did they do against Carson Newman?
Yeah, and I think that's something, again, for our players and our fans to know. Again, this is a team that beat a team that we lost to. So you always respect what a team is able to get done. But, yeah, we've looked at that, and we'll continue to look at, you know, kind of the matchups, where we feel like we have some pluses, where we have some negatives as well. Again, Wingate over the years, having known about them and their staff, always a very fundamentally sound team, always going to run the ball well, stop the run. And I think, you know, when you're playing a Carson Newman in their league, which they play every year, they did a great job shutting down the triple option.
You referenced it. Defensively, this Wingate team, I think, only allows about 100 yards rushing a game. They're very balanced on offense. Passing and rushing is about even. 2 really good running backs, and they've got another veteran quarterback who's put up some pretty good numbers this season.
Yeah, I think it's balanced, the team, as we've seen, as far as, you know, statistically speaking, almost, you know, very close. You mentioned the 2 running backs. They're both very good. You know, 2 years ago when we played them, they had a guy that was, you know, kind of off the charts a little bit. This year, looks like they're relying on 2 guys, a little bit of change of pace in them. But again, big offensive line, run the ball well, they protect the quarterback, and then defensively, again, they're not giving up much, as you said. I mean, we've watched a lot of film so far, and really no one's been able to run the ball very well against them.
Our depth, we talked about all season long, is going to come into play in this game because you are battling some injuries at some different positions, but that's where having 3 and 4 deep really comes in to being a big advantage for you guys. I know you're going to have to rely on some guys who maybe haven't seen as much time. They'll play a little more.
Yeah, they will, and then at the same time, what happens is, you know, you rely on different guys on special teams too, because when you go to the playoffs, your roster shrinks. So we get less guys to travel, but we'll continue to play a lot of guys. So you may see some guys covering kicks and doing some things that haven't done that. But we've been preparing for that, and we've been prepping for that as we've been going through this process.
All hands on deck here. Congratulations. We'll throw a couple out. Quentin Randolph had an amazing game. 8 receptions, 171 yards, 3 touchdowns. Is the GSC Player of the Week, deservedly so, for one of your seniors who honored at the game, honored at your banquet on Sunday. And then Austin Reed, Freshman of the Week again. That's not bad. 430 yards, 5 touchdowns. Had a pretty clean game.
Yeah, both those guys obviously offensively got us going, and we knew it was going to be a special game for Quentin. Just early in the game, made an amazing catch on the sideline, and then followed it up with 7 more just great catches, 3 touchdowns. Career day for him, but I think he's just getting going, so we're excited.
A lot of good feeling and a lot of momentum rolling into this game at Wingate. It is going to be a noon kickoff in Pensacola, 1 Eastern time. We'll be on the radio half hour before kickoff. I'm trying to do all the math in my head of how we got to change times and time zones and all that. Now we'll be on at 11:30 on ESPN Pensacola. Coach, good luck this week. We'll see you up there, and we'll see you again right here next week on the Coach Shinnick Show.